The Blaxit wave, the trend of African Americans leaving their home country to look for a new life abroad, is entering a historic new chapter. As of early 2026, nearly 700,000 people have decided to pack their bags and step beyond America's borders. It comes from a very human desire to find a place where they truly deserve to belong. Why should we keep exhausting ourselves by carrying more than 3,000 US dollars a month for a cramped apartment in major cities, where the pace of life is always stressful and full of pressure? Meanwhile, out there are truly places that can give you a calmer way of living, excellent healthcare, and, most importantly, a place where your heritage and skin color are welcomed with the most natural and sincere respect. Today, we're going to explore the top 10 countries that are truly open and want African Americans to come and live there. But before we start this journey, I'm really curious. If tomorrow you could pack your suitcase and leave without worrying about procedures or paperwork, what would your dream destination be? Share your story in the comments below because we'd love to hear it. And if living abroad is a journey you've been thinking about, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can join us in the next videos. Let's start the countdown, beginning at number 10, with a destination that brings a huge surprise in Asia. 10. Malaysia. Opening the countdown at number 10 is an impressive comeback in Asia. If you want to live in this region with Indonesia-level affordability, but still want modern infrastructure like Singapore and don't want to learn a new language, Malaysia is the only answer. As a diverse society, seeing different races on the streets of Kuala Lumpur is completely normal. English is the language of business and daily communication, completely removing cultural isolation. Malaysia's DE Rantau Nomad Pass is currently the most generous visa policy in Southeast Asia. It allows you to stay for 12 months with another 12-month extension with a record low income requirement. Only 24,000 US dollars per year, which means 2,000 US dollars per month. More importantly, you're legally allowed to bring your family with you. You won't believe the quality of life you can get in Kuala Lumpur. With only around 1,200 US dollars per month, you can rent a high-end one-bedroom condo in respected expat areas like Mont Kiara or Bangsar for 500 to 750 US dollars per month. That apartment comes with an infinity pool, a 5-star gym, and 24/7 security. Seeing English-speaking doctors at top private hospitals costs only around 20 US dollars per visit. The hot and humid weather all year may be a small problem, but with a 1,200 USD lifestyle that'd cost you 5,000 USD in America, Malaysia is definitely one of the smartest choices. But Malaysia's real cultural value lies in its diverse nature. Living in a society where Malay, Chinese, and Indian communities live together peacefully, you escape the West's binary racial ladder of white and black. Although the African American community in Kuala Lumpur isn't as loud as in Latin America, it includes a very close network of international thinkers, professionals, and teachers. They find a valuable neutral space here. Nobody stares at you, there's no system-level bias, and you're simply free to be yourself. 9. Indonesia. Still in Asia, at number 9, don't let Bali's popularity on social media make you think this place is already overcrowded. In reality, Indonesia has improved its infrastructure to a near-perfect level for remote workers. The openness of local people toward foreigners of every race is complete. At the beginning of 2024, Indonesia launched the Remote Worker Visa E33G. If you have a stable remote job with an income of 60,000 US dollars per year and can prove a bank balance of 2,000 US dollars, you can get a 1-year residence card. The process is clear, transparent, and directly aimed at high-income knowledge workers who want to enjoy a tropical lifestyle. The cost equation in Indonesia is almost impossible to beat. Even in hotspots like Canggu and Bali, you can still rent a villa room with a pool for 400 to 600 US dollars per month. Total living costs for one person always stay safely under 1,000 US dollars per month. What do you get in exchange for that very low price? Transportation infrastructure. Local traffic jams in Bali's small alleys or the horrible congestion in Jakarta will force you to get used to sitting behind ride-hailing motorbikes like Gojek or Grab every day. You save thousands of dollars, but sometimes you pay for it with patience. However, the mental reward is huge. The Black in Bali community has grown from a small group into a strong ecosystem, especially focused on healing and personal growth. Retreats made for Black women, yoga sessions, and tech startup groups are organized often. Here you fully escape daily microaggressions so you can focus 100% on recharging and creating. 8. Mexico. Now let's fly across the ocean and return to the Americas. If moving all the way to Asia makes you nervous, look right below the US border. Mexico has the largest American expat community in the world. And over the past 5 years, the Black community in Mexico City, CDMX, and Oaxaca has exploded into extremely tight support networks. Feeling isolated is almost impossible here. Applying for Mexico's temporary resident visa is a direct process. In 2026, you need to prove a monthly income of around 4,300 US dollars maintained for 6 months, or savings of around 73,000 US dollars. This visa allows you to stay for 1 year, extend it up to 4 years, and then move directly toward permanent residency. Prices in Mexico City can vary a lot. If you rush into western neighborhoods like Roma or Condesa, rent for an apartment has already been pushed up to 1,000 to 1,500 US dollars, raising total cost to 2,500 US dollars per month. But here's the secret. Just move a few streets over to Narvarte or Del Valle, and everything becomes 40% cheaper while safety is still fully protected. Excellent street food costs only 3 US dollars per meal, and the subway system has some of the cheapest fares in the world. The only real challenge? The city's 2,240-meter altitude may take your first few weeks to get used to breathing normally. And don't ignore the power of Black and CDMX, or Brothas and Sistas of Mexico. These aren't just Facebook pages, they're real families. From weekend BBQ parties with a taste of home to shared business projects, African Americans are creating their own safe spaces here. On top of that, Mexico's official recognition of the Afro-Mexican community in the Constitution has created a deep cultural bridge built on shared roots and support. 7. Panama. Going deeper into Central America, Panama isn't just a canal. It's an international financial fortress with a skyline that feels like Miami, but with the cost of living cut in half. For Americans, getting to Panama is as easy as a walk in the park. No entry visa is needed, and with a return ticket, you can stay and experience the country. The deeply mixed Afro-Caribbean culture ensures that you'll never feel like a stranger here. Panama's real pull comes from the Pensionado Visa program. This is considered the gold standard of retirement visas worldwide. The lifetime income requirement is only 1,000 US dollars per month. Once you have this visa, you immediately receive a list of rare benefits: 25% off utility bills, 20% off medical costs, and 25% off plane tickets. Most importantly, Panama uses a territorial tax system, meaning any money you earn from outside Panama is taxed at 0%. To live comfortably in the center of Panama City, where medical infrastructure is directly connected to Johns Hopkins in the United States, you'll need a budget of 1,500 to 2,000 US dollars per month. The only downside you need to prepare for mentally is the work pace. The "we'll deal with it later" attitude, or mañana, in Panama's government offices can drive you crazy. But once you learn to slow your life down, paying 0% income tax will make every delay feel worth it. Culturally, Panama's history is deeply tied to the Afro-Antillean community, people of African descent from the Caribbean who came to build the canal. Congo culture in places like Portobelo is a living heritage of resistance and freedom. Thanks to this foundation, African-American retirement groups in Panama have built an extremely strong community, where they organize everything from weekend golf outings to safe real estate investment seminars. 6. Peru. Continuing the journey down the South American continent, Peru doesn't spend millions of dollars on marketing campaigns for digital nomads, but it's holding one of the strongest cards in the world when it comes to immigration law. The capital, Lima, has quietly risen into one of the world's food capitals, with an incredible mix of indigenous culture and especially strong Afro-Peruvian culture in the southern region. What puts Peru on this list is the rentista visa. We're not talking about renewing a visa every year. We're talking about permanent residency from day one. You don't need to wait until age 65 to apply for a retirement visa. The only requirement? You must prove a stable passive income stream from rental property, dividends, or a pension fund that reaches 1,000 US dollars per month. If you're part of the FIRE movement, which means financial independence and early retirement, this is the ticket that frees you from paperwork problems. Living costs in Lima are a bargain. In Miraflores or Barranco, where the streets are full of greenery, safety is very strong, and there are direct views of the Pacific Ocean. You only need a budget of around 800 to 1,200 US dollars per month. However, this visa is designed very strictly. It's for people with independent income. If you're still grinding through remote work and receiving a monthly salary, that income doesn't count as passive income. Peru is paradise, but only if you bring the right type of money they require. And if you think Peru has no Black cultural presence, you're wrong. Along the southern coast, Afro-Peruvian culture still beats strongly through the cajon drum and traditional dances. This historic presence creates a natural sense of understanding. Black expats in Lima often share that they find a quiet respect here, where their skin color is met with polite curiosity instead of threatening judgment. 5. Colombia. Still in South America but moving north, Colombia has become a huge magnet for remote workers from North America, and the reason is its impressive return on value. You get the cool Andes mountain weather in Bogota, the eternal spring climate in Medellin, and the Afro-Latino Caribbean rhythm in Cartagena. The arrival of the Visa Fi, or digital nomad visa, has completely changed the situation. With a stay of up to 2 years, Colombia's income barrier is surprisingly low. For 2026, you only need to prove income equal to 3 times Colombia's minimum wage, which is about 5.25 million Colombian pesos, or around 1,400 US dollars per month. The application process is 100% online. With that 1,400 US dollars, how do you live? In Medellin's El Poblado or Laureles areas, a budget of 1,200 to 2,000 US dollars per month allows you to rent a high-end apartment, eat dinner at fancy steakhouses, and move around everywhere by Uber with plenty of room to spare. But I'll say this directly. Colombia isn't a place where you can naively show off wealth. The number one survival rule here is no dar papaya, which means don't give criminals an easy chance. Keeping your expensive phone in your pocket while walking downtown is lesson 1. In return, Colombia's private healthcare system, EPS, ranks among the best in the world. A high-end health insurance plan costs only around 50 to 80 US dollars per month. What makes Colombia truly special is the Afro-Latino blood flowing through the country's veins. From the heritage of free enslaved people in San Basilio de Palenque, to the music culture of Choco, to the Petronio Alvarez Festival, the largest of its kind on the continent, this culture is everywhere. Very active networks like Black in Medellin often organize weekly networking events. You don't come here only to enjoy low costs. You come to sink into a culture that honors its African roots. 4. Ghana. Now, let's cross the Atlantic and return to the mother continent. We can't talk about African Americans moving abroad without mentioning the center of this movement. Ghana. Since the historic Year of Return campaign, Ghana has actively changed the rules of the game. They're not only inviting you to visit, they're inviting you home. The energy in the capital city of Accra is unlike anywhere else in the world. It's a powerful meeting point of art, economics, and community identity. The brightest part of Ghana's policy is the right of abode. This law allows people from the African diaspora to have the right to live in the country indefinitely. This is a historic privilege that no other continent offers. You don't need to prove sky-high passive income. You only need to prove your roots. However, Accra isn't a cheap backpacker-style destination. Living in busy expat areas like Cantonments, Osu, or East Legon requires a budget of 1,500 to 2,000 US dollars per month. Similar to Tanzania, landlords here often require 1 to 2 years of rent paid up front, which is a serious financial barrier. On top of that, the national power grid sometimes faces dumsor, or rolling power cuts. You must budget for apartments with backup generators. But for tens of thousands of African Americans who have moved here, occasional power cuts are nothing compared to the feeling of walking into a government office and seeing people in the highest positions of power who look just like them. The community here has moved beyond the normal idea of an expat group. The African American Association of Ghana, or AEIAG, works like a professional support and guidance organization. From global cultural festivals like Afrofuture to Black startup meetups, Ghana offers an ecosystem where your culture isn't appropriated, but honored like a national treasure. 3. Tanzania. Moving to East Africa, Tanzania is a grand landscape. This country doesn't force you to immediately make a settlement decision. It's built a perfect system for you to arrive, fall in love with the place, and slowly figure out your next step. For U.S. citizens, Tanzania offers an ideal trial runway, a multiple-entry tourist visa valid for up to 12 months. You're allowed to stay for 90 days each time you enter. This means you can try living in Dar es Salaam for a few months, fly to Zanzibar for a break, then return to the United States without struggling to renew paperwork. When it comes to cost, Dar es Salaam is highly practical. The average total budget for one person is around 760 US dollars per month. Areas with many Western expats and people of African descent returning home, such as Masaki, Oyster Bay, and Upanga, offer safety, paved roads, and international clinics with rents from 500 to 1,200 US dollars per month. But this is the part travel bloggers often hide from you, The real estate market in Tanzania runs on cash. To rent a good home, landlords will ask you to pay 3 to 6 months up front, sometimes even a full year of rent. If you don't prepare this flexible cash in advance, the cash flow shock in your first month can ruin your whole experience here. But if you get past that barrier, the reward is priceless. Zanzibar and Dar es Salaam have close African American communities, filled with people who have fully left America's rat race to find peace. The connection with local Swahili culture creates a sense of freedom and belonging that many expats admit they never felt back home. 2. Rwanda. Right next to Tanzania is a completely different extreme. When people mention Rwanda, many still stop at memories from the 1990s. But if you step off the plane in Kigali today, the first shock you face isn't culture, but a level of cleanliness that almost feels unreal. Often called the Singapore of Africa, the community work tradition of Umuganda has turned this place into one of the greenest and safest cities on the planet. Women and foreigners can feel safe walking alone at 2 a.m., something that's a luxury even in New York. Rwanda approaches foreigners with a very practical mindset. No matter where you come from, every nationality can get a visa on arrival right at the airport. But what really keeps Americans there is the long-term V-12 visa with its flexible purpose. Unlike countries that demand piles of complicated financial documents, Rwanda simplifies every process so you can focus on building your life. Living costs in the capital city, Kigali, will require a budget of $1,200 to $2,400 per month, depending on your lifestyle. You can rent a fully furnished mid-range apartment in very safe areas like Nyarutarama or Kimihurura for around $600 to $1,500 per month. However, remember that Rwanda is a landlocked country full of hills. This pushes imported goods at supermarkets to fairly high prices, around $150 to $400 per month for groceries. The trade-off here is very clear. You pay a little more than in neighboring countries to buy an organized living environment, strong safety, and a government that refuses petty corruption. More than that, Kigali is becoming a healing sanctuary for the Black diaspora. There's no pressure from racism or bias from security forces. Entrepreneurs and artists of African descent from the United States and the United Kingdom are moving here in growing numbers, creating a closed creative ecosystem where the core values are sustainable growth and respect for heritage. 1. Kenya. And at number 1 on our list, Kenya. I know many people will push back immediately. If you go to Africa, of course you'll be welcomed, that's obvious. But the truth is that fewer than 6% of African Americans have ever set foot on the mother continent. Kenya's welcome isn't only found in greetings on the street, it's proven through a very clear and well-built legal pathway. At the end of 2024, the Kenyan government launched the Class N permit, the official digital nomad permit. To legally stay for up to 2 years, you don't need to buy real estate or open a company. The core requirement is proving income from a foreign source of $55,000 per year, equal to around $4,583 per month. All procedures are digital through the EFNSA portal, with a permit fee of $1,000 per year, breaking the old idea of heavy paperwork and bureaucracy. In the capital city of Nairobi, a single person can live very comfortably with total costs of around $797 per month. If you choose Kilimani or Kileleshwa, the center of the expat community with specialty coffee shops and high-speed fiber internet, rent for a high-end one-bedroom apartment costs only $400 to $550 per month. If the capital is too noisy, Mombasa gives you an Indian Ocean coastal lifestyle with costs dropping to only $604 per month. In terms of community, the Blaxit movement in Kenya is growing stronger than ever. Groups like Black in Kenya aren't only places to share rental tips, but also real support networks for survival and business. You're no longer seen through the lens of a pushed-aside minority like in the West, but welcomed as brothers and sisters returning home to help build a new economy. The only weakness? Public transportation, especially matatus, is quite chaotic. But with optimized living costs, you can fully use ride-hailing platforms like Uber or Bolt every day. Kenya gives you the infrastructure to work globally while being surrounded by one of the strongest African-rooted communities in the world. We've just gone through a countdown of 10 countries that not only respect your existence through political votes, but also prove it through economic policies and legal infrastructure. Moving away is never easy. It requires careful preparation and cash flow and mental adjustment. But if you're paying $3,000 per month for rent in a city where you always have to watch your back, then the paperwork barriers in a new country are completely worth the trade-off. Which country on this list would you seriously consider moving to first? And if you already live abroad, which country made you feel the most welcomed? Drop your answer in the comments because your experience could help someone else make a smarter move. If this video helped you see your options more clearly, don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.